But I can remember being 7 years old, and when I was a kid growing up, my father did his very best to drag my sister and I to every possible church service, conference, and seminar that he could get us to. Kicking and screaming, cooperating, it didn't matter, we were going. And there was one particular conference we attended at a church right here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, just an hour from where we are here at the school. And there was a well-known man speaking there that night that my dad had followed for years. And during the service, and I was 7 years old, I didn't care much for being in church if I didn't have to be, but something happened that night that affected me, and I've never forgotten it all of these years. He was in the middle of his sermon. He had not given an altar call, and these young people, they were probably between 17 and 25 years old, just began leaving their seats, running to the altar, falling down and weeping and repenting before God. It was a beautiful moment. I didn't fully understand what was going on, but something divine was taking place in that sanctuary. And the man who was preaching stood over them, and he kept the ushers back from pulling them away and said, "This is not disorder, this is God." But then he said something that I wonder if it maybe betrayed a wrong mentality that we can have. And I don't use this man's name because though I think this comment was a misstep on his part, I don't want to denigrate the rest of his ministry. But he looked at these young people and he said, it's a shame that they can't all die and go to heaven right now because some of them aren't going to make it after this moment is over. And looking back on that now, I feel that that is a very cynical way for us to not only look at the church, but to look at the power that Jesus has promised to give us as his people. It's not a shame that Christians who maybe are spiritually vulnerable can't just die and go to heaven after their next altar call. It's not a shame that Jesus leaves us here on the earth to be a testimony to how much greater his power is than the things that want to bring us down. It's not a shame that he's left you who think you are the nothing. You relate to that. Maybe you've wondered, why can't I just go home after having a good, solid prayer time with the Lord? Why can't I just die and go to heaven before my next temptation hits me and I give into it and shame and condemnation wash over my soul? It's not a shame that you're still here. You need to still be here because there is a role that you have in the war that we're facing. There is something that Jesus is going to build in your life. And it's going to bury everything that opposes you. It's going to bury the gates of hell under your feet. It's not a shame that you're still around. And that goes for everyone who's in this room tonight. You are here because you are supposed to be here.